You already know why you're here. Champion of the Year, Part 1, 20 to 11. Let's just get right fucking into it. I don't need much of an introduction. Just get right through these numbers. Before we get that started, though, just to run through what will happen, I'll have little screenshots of the resume that I've found. I've scoured the battles of the year, looked through them in a little pros and cons, kind of as a plus and a minus. It'll all be there. It'll screenshots will be It'll be all over the screen. So if you need to read something, pause it, have a read, so at least you know what I'm saying. So if I'm saying it now and I miss a detail, it's been typed up here. Just keep with me. I'll try and make it not too long. So some honourable mentions I just want to throw out there for you guys that didn't quite make the top 20. So starting off, I'm mentioning Dunch. Now, Dunch had been on my top 20, and only until the Bill Collector battle had he been taken off. He had viral moments, quite dominant performances, even versus XL and Show Off, and the King Jables battle, great battles. But the Bill Collector was nasty. It didn't go the way he wanted it to go, and for me, it was enough to knock him off. Homeschool. There's another battler that I was wanting to try and add on here. However, as great as he's been, because his level of content and what he's doing is at a high level, unfortunately, by the end of the year, he had some high caliber opponents like Ace Amin and A Ward. I think he just need a year when he's got slightly higher caliber, even like Homeschool versus just a random Rosenberg Raw. It could be someone like that. It could be interesting, but he just needs to keep up with these high quality matches and keep pushing. Speaking of Rosenberg Raw, Rosenberg Raw, at the very start of the year and even up to the middle of the year, I think he was on fire. Even with the show off battle and the A Ward battle, like he was peaking. He was doing everything he could. Went into the King of the Dot tourney. However, I feel that after he did the King of the Dot tourney, dipped out of the last battle, it affected him quite a lot, where he just ended it with Clone. Now, Raw's content has been really good, but to me, if he kept on to the KOTD league, got into the playoffs, then had the Clone battle, I think he'd be somewhere in that top 20. There's just so much good talent that people had to come and go. Oh, this one hurts. Georgie Roots. So close to making my top 20. He was so fucking close. To me, Georgie Roots had the best UK battler resume of the year. He's had 2 UK battles of the year. Made it to the semi-finals in a tourney and then lost to Bobby Rex. He's never had a bad loss this year. Any battles that he has been in that he's been a part of, it's not a bad loss or he's won. He's a bit of a mixed bag here, but for me, with someone with 2 UK Battle of the Years, to me, versus Moak and Tony D, holds a lot more weight than having a good battle and being on the losing end of it. Serious Jones, his return is crazy. Like really breaking that down from how low we had Serious Jones, and even with the big case shit in Max Out 1 and closer to the start of the year, to then have a debatable with Romney. Yeah, it was a tourney, first round, 100,000, ran off stage, but a debatable, beating Swamp, then beating JC, kind of back to back. Like, I think 2 years ago, we would never expected Serious Jones to do that. However, there's other people that had better years, and the start of the year still happened. Calico, great year. A great year through and through. Like, Geechee, Hitman, and Surf. You're never going to win all of them battles. However, you're still going to have a foot in the race. You're still going to be in the talks. But to me, what happened with the 2-on-2 versus Mook is probably the worst thing I've probably seen this whole year. At least performance-wise, it was one of the worst things we'd seen. So to me, that's a stinger on him. He didn't make it into the top 20 because of it. Now there might be one or two other names. I will throw them up here if they're there. With right to it. Number 20, I have Jackboy Maine. Now Jackboy Maine, very similar to Sirius Jones, has had a return to form. At the start of the year, Jackboy was nowhere. He had one good battle in a Survivor Series, and we hadn't seen anything else from him since. Now, since that battle, he's had that surprise win versus T-Top, which no one expected, especially tournament T-Top for 100,000. Nobody expected that win at all. We end up in a situation where Jackboy then beats Oops, which again, no one really expected Jackboy to beat Oops. This is a return to form Jackboy that has been quite explosive. We also have the loss to Cortez. That was right after the T-Top battle, which was good. It was a good battle, but it's still a loss to Cortez. While Cortez was kind of on a winning streak, like he was built up to win the tourney. You know, the promos behind him, and he kind of went. We also then have the Lou Castro battle, which wasn't a good battle. It was an unfortunate loss. I think there's a medical issue with Jackboy, but that in the end that was a bad loss. I'm not going to hold too much on him on that because it is what it is. Jackboy then ended off the year versus the Saga, which was a good battle. You know, ripping up the bike, fucking rolling, like a good battle. It was a great performance in Jackboy's end. I think the mixture between wins and losses kind of puts him at 20, but if he keeps the trajectory going, he'll be up there 2021. In 19, it's a spicy one. It's a spicy one. I'm throwing Ill Will at 19. Ill Will, at the start of the year, was looking incredible. Battle of the Year versus A-Ward, and Body Bag of the Year versus Chubby Jack. Then after that, kind of veers off into redundancy. He beat Clean, which is great. Then he had a one-rounder versus LL Cool J. Shout out LL Cool J. He hit me up when I first started about doing an interview. Like, respect to him for that. You know, if it's worth the while for someone else to do it, for me to do an interview for them, I'll definitely Cool J be one of the ones I first hit up. Then he has a real tough time with Fawns on a smaller league. Now, the reason why I put Ill Will in 19 is that I feel that in between Clean and Fawns at the end of the year, there was just this gap where he wasn't doing anything. It definitely felt like Ill Will could have had a battle somewhere in the middle. Probably because he was waiting on the Hitman battle. I'm being honest. After Max Out 2, you know, everyone was asking for Hitman versus Ill Will. Everyone was asking for it. I feel like he waited for it to never happen and then took a battle at the end of the year. If Ill Will had something else in the middle there, and if he didn't end his year so badly, it wasn't that he wasn't bad, it's just Fawns dog walked him. And that's tough to do. Anyone a dog walking Ill Will. Just Fawns just boom. He could have been higher, but I think going through all these other battlers that are in the same position, it just made sense to have him there because we're going to go through a lot of names. This is part 1 though. So at 18, again another spicy one. Real name Brandon. Now I know he won the tourney. He won the tournament. He won 25,000. He was on Summer Madness and he 30'd someone on Summer Madness. MVP actually 30'd him. I know. I think a real name Brandon, no disrespect, real name Brandon is the guy who I thought was going to win. From the jump, it was the guy that I went, this is the guy who's going to win. No question about it. This is the guy. I think with the run that he went on, it was almost like he was supposed to win. All the battlers that he did end up taking on, likes of, what do you have, NXT, and it's Swervo, MVP, but then he had a bye week because he went to battle Piranha, and Piranha never showed. Like, no, he never showed. He had his own dramas. And he just kept, from about 3 battles, he ended up winning a tournament. Which is great. It's just you kind of missed part of the tournament against the rookie competition. Now he battled Marv, which was a good battle, and he just battled Shotgun Suge. Did good in both of them battles, but I think because the tourney run that you had, Real Name Brandon, was just of the rookies, I feel like it was less impactful. And if you went from there, which Summer Madness was about September, and then didn't have a battle till December, I think that kind of affected your run as well to put you any higher than where you are. Respectfully though, you did really well in the tourney, and that's the guy I would have put money on it if I could. But the run wasn't as impressive as what it could have been. Even with Piranha name, it would have been a better run. So in 17, we have Jay the Nightwing. Oh, that hurts. It hurts me a lot. He's had a lot of great battles. He took on Thesaurus. He took on Cortez. He's a Battle of the Year contender with Danny Myers. He's had a lot going on this year. Jay the Nightwing. Kid Chaos. Throw that name out there too. I just think for him, he took a bit of a little. It seemed like he took a break in the middle, where if he had a traffic battle that he was meant to have Loso on, if he took that battle then there'd be a bit more of a conversation, like in a bigger crowd. But when he took the Loso battle in Smack Volume 9, on his own words, says he got third, which is never good. That's not I would never expect a battler, unless choke and die, to admit that they lost every round. Isn't exactly a good look. And same with the Av battle. The first round in the Av battle, real nasty. A lot of stumbling and mumbling and bumbling. It was a bit much. And I do also think Jay the Nightwing needs more opportunities. Like the battles that he had, although were good battles, they just kind of came and went. Battles. Like he just needs a higher caliber of battles. He did take New Jersey Twerk when nobody was going to take New Jersey Twerk, and that's tough. But that was about as high as it went, and that was at the start of the year. And it was because New Jeru's his first battle back since the crash. And then he went down. That's how it sort of felt like. So for me, I'm putting Jay the Nightwing 17th. There's a lot of other battlers that are in here that have put in work that do need to be these places. So respectfully, I would have had Jay higher, but in 16th, Fawns. Now, Fawns has actually done quite a lot off of URL. It doesn't seem like it. When you're kind of in the circle and you're seeing the caffeine battles, the amount of events URL throw, Fawns has actually done quite a lot off it, which I was quite surprised at. I don't know whether he wasn't being booked or if his schedules weren't working, or if it was just because URL didn't want him at that time. There was no match for him. Lots of things. So one thing I noticed going through his resume, there was quite a lot off of URL. The ones he did on URL, like the clear win versus Lou Castro, which at Chris Brown's house, that was vital. He needed that. Needed that one. In the Battle of the Year contender, in the 2-on-2 versus Lou and K Shine with Av, that was a great battle too. Then after that, you kind of diverge into this lower name run, which he done good in a lot of these battles, but they're just lower names with a little less impact. Did have the clear win versus Ill Will. I think if he had a few more battles on the URL stage, I think things would have looked a lot better for him. It feels bad saying these things. You have to make these calls. It feels bad. So on 15th, Madflex. Now, Madflex this year has just had dominant performances. He's just been running through everyone. I think at some point last year, even versus Thesaurus and, you know, battles that he had then, it wasn't quite the same. Like, there was less hunger than what we've seen from Madflex, but this year he's turned around and come back to form. Whether it was versus K Philosophy and XQZ, right up to going through pretty much dominating KOTD season 150-point performances, right up to beating Johnny Storm like very recently. You know, like you have to throw him in somewhere. My only critique is the level of competition he faced. Like, he was supposed to beat Bobby Lee. He was supposed to beat Fate. He kind of was supposed to beat Johnny Storm. Respectfully, he kind of was supposed to beat him. He's just sort of doing what he had to do. But he's been doing it in a way with a high level content. So I'm throwing Madflex up in 50. Might get some hate for this one. In 14, Charlie Clips. Now, Charlie Clips, he wasn't in my top 20 at all until Smack Volume 9. Like, I hadn't really put his name across because it kind of felt like he did well versus Big K, like 30 Big K quite convincingly. Because I don't know what happened with Big K there. I kind of felt like he lacked in trying. And Clips just came through and just washed him a little bit. But then that was kind of all that he had done, you know. We had the chess battle, which come out way later on in the year, which is a close battle, and very impressive that he managed to get a YouTube battle out on the URL. A YouTube battle. And the views on that are crazy. And then you're kind of left, all right, you had these two, and then a one rounder with A-Ward in the middle, or like closer to the end, which you lost. It's like, well, do I put him in the top 20 or not? Then the B-Dot battle happens. Whew, that is work. B-Dot went and fuck around and found out what Clips can do. Like what happened there in the B-Dot and Charlie Clips, like I had to put his name somewhere in the top 20 because you're 30 B-Dot, you're 30 Big K. Like, that's not no easy feat, you know. Yeah, he lost the one rounder versus A-Ward. Then that's kind of it, you know. Like, the chess battle's great. 30 in Big K, 30 in B-Dot. Like, I deserved some sort of credit. But the B-Dot is such a highlight moment for Clips. That gassed off that shit is a highlight. Simple gang. People don't appreciate simple, you know. And it's just one of the things that the being Charlie Clips does, you know, just snatches the crowd from you instantly. So we've gone through from 14 up to 20. At 13, Lou Castro. Now, I know what we're thinking. Lou Castro lost to Fawns at Chris Brown house. How has he made it this far? It's because Lou Castro's touched every stage this year. Every stage. Touching Gnome, touching Summer Madness, even in the Civil War card, being at Chris Brown's house, you know, viral moments, you know, battling top competition, Mike P, Arsenal, Rum Nitty, you know, he's had great competition and he's been in the mix almost all the time. The only loss really is versus Fonz. Even his introductions into iBattle versus Nox and all these other little one-rounders. He also lost to A-Ward, which also is reason why he's down a bit from being in the top 10 or whatever. But he still put in work throughout the year, and it needs to be recognised. Possibly beating Mike P, beating Arsenal in a viral moment. Wow! You know, being in the mix with everyone. You know, it's really impressive to see. Lou Castro is 13, Clips is 14. Here we go. Final two on part one. In number 12, Bill Collector. So, Bill Collector has had a good year. You know, especially what he's done in the KOTD series and beating Dunge. Dunge is one of those that was supposed to be supposed to fly through everyone, but Bill Collector managing to find a way just to poke through and beat Dunch. That's crazy. Bill Collector's had quite a lot of battles this year. See, running through a whole list of everything that he's done, it's quite impressive, to be honest. Like, how much he's done. It's not as impressive as maybe someone else that I might get into in the next video, but, you know, it's quite a lot of battles in a year. And he's touched every stage. He's been in every league this year. Whether it was URL versus Big T, which wasn't the best battle. Big T did win that. It's just he was in the running, you know. The KOTD season, of course, even battling Swave Seva on RBE, like Bill Collector's been everywhere this year. Had some great moments. I think that there's some losses that have kind of probably somewhat affected him, like the Big T that I mentioned already. Like, he had a good battle versus Danny, but Danny got him, and that was in Philly. It's not exactly the, you know, it's a tough one to take. I think all in all, Bill Collector's had a relatively good year. Like, he's still, you know, he's still keeping on the trajectory he was on last year, being in the final of Ultimate Madness 2, and he's still going on forward. So, gotta give respect to Bill Collector on that. Number 11, I've got Loso. Loso, although a great battler, had viral moments in the start of the year, especially versus Vixen, about doing J Black and Smack White, you know, highlighting everything there. He's had a bit of a run, a little bit outside URL 2 with 40 bars, and he had a few other battles there. Cuevos Walker is the name that was ringing in my head. Along with having potential battle of the year versus Chess, which is no easy feat. No easy feat at all. Then going through this top 10 because it's tight. That loss to Twerk is bad. That's not. It's you got a prime from the most electrifying man in battle rap. You know, it showed where you were at, and it showed where he was at, and everything that he talked to you about prior to the battle happening is exactly what happened, and that was a painful one to see. He did come back versus Arsenal, and he did allegedly beat Jay the Nightwing. That's not been out yet for us, so hopefully we'll see it soon. So got to give Loso the credit. He just missed out on top 10. Right, that is part 1. I know, it's part 1. Part 1's probably tougher than part 2, to be honest. Like, part 2, you can see where we're going with a lot of them battles that are, you know, it's just where they go and what their places are. That 11 to 20, that's tough. That was a tough list to make, and I had to definitely jiggy shit around and make things work, you know, and really take into consideration everyone. Trying to take away my biases and putting in right, actually looking at people's years. What's the resume like? What's their impact? And, like, where are they now? Like, are they on the up or are they on down? You know, where are people in the rankings? And it was really tough to then go through this because there's still names that could have made it. You know, if there's anyone that I've missed out, like whether it's in the honorable mentions or in the 11 to 20, put it down in the comment or something. Show support. So appreciate y'all. Part 2 coming out soon. This will all be out before Champion of the Year officially announced, but I'm just sort of making a 2-part series.